This I need to deal with because this seems to be the talking point du jour, du campagne. I don't know how to say campaign in French. Where you have every single one of the Republican presidential nominees complaining that the problem is not that the top 1%, which controls, what is it, 0.01% controls 40% of our nation's wealth. But the problem is that people in the bottom half of the income distribution, 50% nearly, 47, it's technically 46% of Americans over the age, I guess, of 21 or 18 when you would begin to file taxes, pay no federal income taxes. Now, of course, understand that they say this as if these Americans pay no taxes. But we do know that they pay payroll taxes in the form of Social Security taxes, Medicare taxes, FICA taxes. We also know that they pay things like federal gas taxes, they pay sales taxes, they pay all sorts of other types of taxes. But they don't pay any federal income taxes. And here's the reason. They don't make enough money. Dave Weigel had an interesting point where he wrote about this, and he was saying that, and I don't think, frankly, Tea Partiers are aware of this. But he says when the Tea Party started rallying in 2009, it wasn't protesting higher taxes because federal income taxes were lower with more loopholes. Well, in fact, I think they were protesting that. They just didn't realize that salient fact that their taxes were, in fact, not higher, and they were actually paying a lower tax rate by any measure, at least in terms of federal taxes, income taxes, Social Security taxes, etc., than they ever have in their entire lives, in their entire sad, sorry lives. He claims that it was protesting the perception, and I think this is poorly written. I don't know how you protest a perception. It was protesting because they perceived that so-called productive Americans were shelling out for an ever-expanding class of moochers. And I think if you dig down into that, you find out that based upon statistically where we know Tea Partiers are statistically the most partisan Republicans. We know that they're also the most religious and theocratic Republicans. Statistically speaking, although I don't have this data in front of me, I think it is an extremely safe assumption that they come from those red states, which actually are the biggest moocher states in terms of what they give into the federal government and what they get back from the federal government, in terms of what benefits they receive from the federal government. Now, they're not aware that they receive these benefits. They don't even realize that their Medicare or their Social Security is actually a government benefit. But leave that aside. Ultimately, what we're talking about, and because, again, that study that we talked about the other day, reported in the New York Times, what they're really talking about when they say moochers is they're saying brown people. Different shades of non-white people in their eyes. But let's leave that aside for a moment. A plurality, in other words, not the majority, but the biggest group of people who pay no income tax are you ready for it? The elderly. Why? Because their retirement insurance, much of it not taxable. The other reason, and this is going to come as a shocker, are you ready for this? It's because, of course, they don't work. Oh, right. Old people tend to retire. Now, this, of course, if we lived in a world that our elite and our establishment would prefer, of course, we would not have such a thing as retirement for anybody under in the bottom 4 income quintiles. In other words, for 80% of the country, we should really outlaw retirement. But we're not quite there yet. We'll get there if these people have their way. And the rest of the people, at least the vast majority of the people who don't pay taxes, they're incredibly poor. Ezra Klein reported on this, I guess, at the beginning of this month. If you don't make any money, but you take a standard deduction and have few dependents, you're not going to pay any income tax. The example, a couple with 2 children earning less than $26,000 a year. They get $11,000 worth of standard deduction and 4 exemptions for $3,700, which takes their tax liability to 0. Now, of course, to make that $26,000, they've paid at least 6% off their payroll taxes, 6.5% off their payroll taxes. They're paying gas tax to get to work. And then they're probably paying local taxes in some shape or form, and sales tax to their states. The basic structure of the income tax simply exempts subsistence levels of income from tax. If you're making just enough or less that you need to survive, then you do not pay an income tax. How horrid! How horrid. So when you hear a Republican say that we need to expand the tax base, what they're saying is we need to tax poor people. And I got news for you. There's no money there. And then once you tax these poor people who are making either no money because they're retired or just enough money to survive week in, week out under a lot of duress, what happens to them? Well, of course, they join the other millions of Americans, 46 million Americans who are on food stamps. It's roughly 15% of the population. That's an increase of 74%. Since when? Since when? Take a guess. Since what date we've had to increase the number of people on food stamps by 74%?
2007?
Did you read that somewhere?
No, that's right. This is the year right before the stock market
You're
crashed.
Right. You're right. That's just incredible. There's a story from Reuters about a woman who supervises cashiers at a Walmart. So she's not even a cashier. She's mid-management. She has a 12-year-old son. She earns $9.70 an hour. They only give her 26 hours a week, so they don't have to pay any benefits. And she, of course, doesn't make enough to make ends meet. She's on food stamps. She says that after 9 months at Walmart and her probation ended, she maintained her job there. She got the food stamps. She said plenty of her coworkers are also on food stamps. And Bill Simon, head of Walmart's U.S. operations, told a conference call last Tuesday that the company had seen an increase in the number of shoppers relying on food stamps. So you have Walmart selling their products to people on food stamps with people who are on food stamps. So we're basically subsidizing the wages and the sales of Walmart to provide food to these people. Over the past 20 years, the characteristics of the program's recipients changed. In 1989, There was a higher percentage of people in this program were on some type of government assistance rather than working. As of 2009, there's a higher percentage who have earned income versus benefits. In other words, this is simply a way of subsidizing the wages that these people are earning. We now have edified a class of people in this country who are working but still can't afford to feed their families. And, what was that other place? In addition to raising the taxes on people who are making subsistence living in this country, what was the other place that the Republicans wanted to cut? Oh, yeah, food stamps.